Hello and welcome to our 4th episode of First Levels. In this episode we're going to be playing, what do we have here? Super Metroid. Oh yeah, I have some fond memories of this one. This was the first Metroid game, I believe it was the 3rd one in total, but it was the first one that came out for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
The galaxy is at peace.
Oh, voice acting. Oh, some backstory. Check this out. And there we go. Metroid and all of its side-scrolling glory. Now, you can call me a little too obsessed with the old school stuff, but I do think that this is probably my favorite Metroid game. And it was one of the early games. I mean, this all exists in one persistent world. That's why there isn't really what I would call a first level in Metroid, or Super Metroid. But you can think of this as being, because we won't be able to come back here, but later on in the game, after this first section here, it's going to be opening up. The world is going to open up, and it's going to have this almost pseudo-open world kind of feel to it, where you can go in any direction you feel like. It's just a matter of what abilities you have that'll get you through certain doors, or anything like that. It's the kind of thing that the Castlevania series is later known for. Oh jeez, it's Ridley. This bastard here is the captain of the space pirates, and apparently is here to steal our Metroid. Now, the Metroids were people not quite familiar with the series. Metroids were a group of aliens that Samus had to wipe out back in the first Metroid, and what they do is they latch themselves on the people and they suck out their life. Simple, space pirates here, they kind of want to go and use them as a weapon or some crap like that. You know, I'm not really sure of the story of this game, what the space pirates were doing with the Metroid, but they took it, and Samus has to go and destroy them. You know, the good old-fashioned stuff. Oh, he escaped. Now we have a minute to get the hell out of here. In usual Metroid fashion, everything's gonna go and explode. Dead people everywhere. Nice. At least the timer doesn't count down when you're going through doors. The controls for this game were a little bit stiff. They're a little stiffer than I remember them being. Maybe I've just been spoiled by more modern games, but I remembered it working a little bit better than it did here. Not getting through that door again. In space, why is everything getting tilted to the side? And escape. Well, what do we have here? Anytime now. Yes, this is the title sequence. Starfox! 1993 Nintendo. Now this was the... Well, it was a combat flight simulator for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System released in 1993. Now, what was so special about Starfox? Because it wasn't the only combat flight simulator on the system. Let's skip over the story, no one cares. It wasn't the only one, but look at what we have here. This is something different. What we're looking at here are 3D polygonal graphics. Now, this is the kind of thing you didn't really see on the SNES. I mean, it was capable of it. You did see a little bit of graphics like that. I remember a few games that had simple 3D effects without so much full 3D game. But look, we have a fully 3D game here. And look, it looks like garbage. Wow. Looks like hell. What was so special about this was the fact that it had the 3D graphics, so that ends up actually just making everything terrible. But it was new, and it was awesome. The game itself didn't really play all that well, but, you know, freshman effort, you know, you gotta give them some slack there. Now, the reason why this was possible was because Nintendo had gone and built a new coprocessor that went inside the SNES cartridge called the Super FX processor, and it gave the SNES the ability. It basically worked as a sort of 3D accelerator that would use direct memory access to go grab pictures out of the frame buffer, go and render the 3D graphics, and bring them back to the frame buffer, and it would. Well, it give you what you have here. Now this was, in fact, a freshman effort with the Super FX chip. There were other games like Super FX Racing, or there was a version of Doom that came out for this. They were better uses of the Super FX chip. Unfortunately, putting the processor inside the SNES cartridge caused it to cost a little bit more money. In fact, if I remember correctly, this game, back when it first came out, cost something along the lines of like $80 or something like that for the game. This is $80 back in mid-90s prices, which was a lot of money. Not that cartridges were ever really cheap to begin with, but jeez. All for a game that didn't really even play all that well. But, you know, it is kind of a innovative game. You gotta give him credit for at least doing this. Slippy, I hate you. Now, Microsoft, jeez. Nintendo went and took the Starfox formula. Nintendo 64 came out. It's a Starfox 64. It was a much better game. That was actually pretty freaking cool. It didn't just look awesome, it played awesome, it was so much better. The was supposed to be a Starfox 2 for the SNES, but it got cancelled because it was too close to the release of the N64, and they didn't want to, you know, compete against themselves. Now this thing is the boss. Notice there are no textures on anything, just solid colors. No bomb. Pieces of it are falling off. It's pretty cool. There we go. Okay, it's almost dead. Why is the ground so flat? Oh yeah, that's why. There we go, we got it. Well, there are mountains off in the distance, aren't there? Stage 1 clear, and that is the end of Starfox. Karate Champ for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Wow, this is made by Data East. Whatever, but anybody who has fond memories of playing the NES back in the 80s or 90s, or whenever you had it, they're gonna have to remember Karate Champ. This terrible fighting game for the NES. The only reason why I have fond memories of it is because it was probably the first fighting game that I ever played. I remember sitting down and playing this for hours with my brother, and he would kick the crap out of me. But, as you can see, it's got this kind of weird fighting game, this thing you don't see nowadays, where you really have a one-hit. All you have to do is actually land one hit. Oh, we're throwing all sorts of punches and kicks, but only one hit's the one that matters, and you go down. I will also never forget the voice acting. Point. Begin. 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 Point. And point. Begin. That was awesome. I thought, oh geez, one hit to the face. Begin. And that weird dude just dancing around up there. But I mean, come on, it was the NES. What'd you expect? Now I know the game Street Fighter 2 was like kind of illegally ported to the NES, and it ended up being a fighting game which was a whole hell of a lot better than this. So technologically, they could have done a better game, but at the time, you know, the standards were low. Begin. Also, I'm not quite sure how the controls are supposed to work. I mean, I'm playing the game here, but I'm not quite sure why I'm hitting him sometimes, and sometimes I'm missing, or I'm doing back kicks when I want to do forward kicks. I don't get it. But I won anyway, so... dodge it? Oh, never mind.